How you doing? It's your boy Jerkbait, and we back like we never left. This is a follow-up video on how to use a jerkbait. So if you didn't see that video, go back and watch it. I'll be getting more technical on this video. It was just a lot of information and I didn't want to unpack a whole bunch of information. I just wanted you to know how to use a jerkbait so you could go out there and catch your first jerkbait fish. And if you want to take your jerkbait fishing to the next level, you need to watch this video. So let's talk about the lips. Jerkbaits have different lips. You have your standard jerkbait lip, you have the +1, +2, and I even think they make a +3. So the +1 gets around 8 to 6 feet. Your standard lip gets about 4 to 6 feet. So with this +1, you can see the lip is angled and isn't very long. It sits about like this in the water, and you'll get some nice movement out of it. Now the +1, as you can tell, this bill isn't angled as much, but it sits like this in the water and it gets small movements. But if you're fishing with deeper water, I would go with a +1, +2, depending on how deep you want to go. Make sure you want to hover that jerkbait on top of the fish and not underneath them. I mean, they still bite it if it's underneath, but what you want for a jerkbait, you want to work it on the top of the fish. So you look up and come up and smack it. So also you can tell how a bait's gonna move is about a profile. If you look at the tail, you can see how thick that tail is. This bait's been chewed up, but it get a lot of side to side action. It'll sit like this in the water where we got this mega bass. You can see the tail's way skinnier and you can see the profile on this. It's just like this at an angle, and what that mega bass do is shimmies back up in the bass and eat it on the paws. But this gets a more crisp action. So, like I said, I would use these in the fall, spring, and summer. These all year round, but they really shine in the winter. So the sizes of your jerkbait, you got your 70, 90, 95, 100, 110, and 115. So sound is also something you need to pay attention to. Baits with loud sounds cast sound further, so it'll call a fish from further away. These are good in stained water and muddy water, and it just helps the fish locate the bait. I wouldn't throw a loud sound in clear water unless it's deep. That way the fish could hear it from deep and come all the way to the top and investigate and smack it. Each bait has its own unique sound. So this is a Megabass Vision 110. Very loud, obnoxious, jackal re-range. And 6 cents per boat. This is one of my favorite sounds. What make these sounds, they have, I don't know if you can see it, got these little balls in here and little beads, and that'll make the sound. But like I said, you just need to pay attention to the sound, and even if it's small, this is another Megabass Vision 110 Junior. Still loud. Pay attention to sound and use it to your advantage, and know when to throw sound and when not to use sound. Also, if the fish are finicky, lethargic, or heavily pressured, try using a silent jerkbait, especially if everybody else is using sound around them. Use a silent jerkbait and you'll probably get bit. So let's get the colors. Some of my favorite colors are Tennessee Shad. Love that bait, just always get it hung up somewhere. Clear Laker, Matte Shad, Pro Blue, and French Pearl. So my recommendation for jerkbaits would be the Megabass Vision 110 and Vision 110 Junior. You can't go wrong. They are the #1 jerkbait in the world, hands down. Right next to them, Shimano Zoom Verno and Shimano World Minnow. Shimano Zoom Verno is a smaller presence of the World Minnow, and it's more erratic and it's crazy, and fish eat it, destroy it. Let me see if I could find it real quick. Oof. As you can see, this bait has been destroyed. Bass absolutely love it. And this is the bigger one, the World Minnow. You can see that flash boost it has in there. Whenever this bait sits still, it'll flash and flicker, and the bass will eat it. Definitely on the pause. This really helped me out in the winter. Also, you have the Jackal Re-Range, which is one of my favorites. And then Lucky Craft Point and 100. So most of these baits you really can't find in the store that I just listed, besides the Mega Bass Vision 110 and 110 Junior and the Point and 100. You can find both of those at Cabela's and Bass Pro. But I'm gonna give you some recommendations that you can find in Academy, Bass Pro, Walmart, etc., etc. So that way you could get started on your jerkbait journey. The recommendations that I could give you that you're gonna find in the store are the Mega Bass Vision 110 and 110 Junior, the Ripstop, which they come in a 90, and a 110, 112, I believe. Those, I haven't found many of them, but when I found them, they work and I love them to death. You also can find the Lucky Craft Point and 100. You can find those in Cabela's or Bass Pro. And actually the Guggen Squad Scout. Now, I know a lot of people gonna say a whole bunch of stuff about Guggen Squad this, Guggen Squad that. It don't matter. This was actually the first bait I used to catch my first jerkbait fish. Worked. I swear to God, it worked. They're erratic and they work. So rod and reel. So what you want is a medium and a fast tip. What you want is that rod to bend so you don't lose the fish with all those treble hooks in there. But you want a fast tip so you get a nice crisp jerk. I have used a medium heavy rod to catch jerkbait fish, but the problem that you have when using the medium heavy is you pull those hooks out of the fish mouth. I'm not saying you gotta go to the store and buy a medium fast rod, but it'll come in handy whenever you take it more serious. For reels, I would stay in the 8s. Like I say, you could do it with a 7, you could do it with an 8, you could do it with a 9. I would stay in the 8. The 7's gonna be too slow, you won't be able to pick that line up. The 9 is gonna be too fast where you pick too much line up and that bait will start to swim. When to use a jerkbait. So you can use a jerkbait all year round. Summer, fall, winter, spring, it really doesn't matter. But what you do need to know, in the winter time, you need to work that jerkbait a lot slower. So when I say slow, I mean like 4 to 5 second pauses, sometimes even longer than that, depending on how lethargic the fish are. But you really could use it all year round. I've been using it almost every time I fish for about 3 years. So I'm gonna give you some friendly tips. That way you have all the information you need to go ahead and catch your first jerkbait fish. Missing the first strike. This is gonna happen sometimes. Whenever they miss, what you need to do is twitch, 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 and keep twitching. Make that bait look erratic, and it's gonna look like a frantic fish moving, trying to get away from this bass. What that bass gonna do is gonna wrap around and come back and smack it again. So keep twitching if you miss that first strike. The fish still there and he still will eat it. Another tip would be, don't be cheap. So the expensive stuff is expensive for a reason. It works. Don't go out there throwing the XPS or, you know, a Cabela's jerkbait expecting to have an amazing day. It's probably gonna be bad, but I'm not saying you gotta spend a lot of money to catch a jerkbait fish. You got a lot of options out there. Like I said, the Ripstop is like $10. The Point and 100, $10. You know, it got options out there where you don't have to spend money, but like I said, don't buy like a $2 jerkbait thinking you're gonna catch a whole bunch of fish. It's not gonna happen. And like I said, the jerkbaits that aren't expensive, Guggen Squad Scout, Ripstop, Lucky Craft Point and 100, and the KVD, those will all get bit. Just don't buy like Bass Pro jerkbait. Get something else. Tip number 3, cadence. Pay attention to your cadence. Don't be afraid to switch it. If one cadence gets you a bite, remember that cadence and then keep using it so you can get another bite. I mean, if that's what the fish want, give them what they want. You feel me? So remember your cadence. Don't be scared to switch it up. Blind. So use fluoro The thinner it gets, the deeper it gets. The thicker it gets, the more shallow it gets. Remember, mono floats. So if you want to get a little bit more shallow, use mono. If you want to get a little bit deeper, use fluoro. And what I use for line is Usuri T7, 10 pounds for jerkbaits. Sometimes I use 12. Don't go anything past 15. Just don't do it. I just gave you all the information I know about jerkbait fishing. I've been doing this for about 3 years, non-stop. Almost every time I go fishing, I use a jerkbait. A lot of people use other stuff. I always use a jerkbait. I mean, I use other stuff, but I always come back. Good luck to you. I wish you the best. We went through rods, reels, line, profiles, lips. Who talks about lips? But yeah, anyway, if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.